murder, mistaken identity, psychic predictions, little people, sex workers, and Albuquerque, New Mexico. One of these things is not like the other. Welcome back, horror fans, cinephiles, and Giallo enthusiasts. This is Tanner Leeser for The King in Giallo. Let's do another unscripted movie review. And I have to mention, I'm not sure if these colors will work with the green screen. Let's see. Okay, carry on. So, I finished watching The Man with Icy Eyes, 1971 by, I should have this ready next time. Directed by Alberto de Martino, and this stars Barbara Bouchet, Antonio Sabàto, Keenan Wynn, Faith Domergue, and Victor Buono. I sure hope I got that right. So, yeah, real quickly, I'll give you the plot breakdown. I will just read it from Wikipedia, because I don't really actually want to make this review too long. I don't want to get lost in the sauce. But so here's what the movie's about. A state senator is murdered outside his home, and the police arrest a strange man with icy eyes as the killer. An Italian reporter finds a stripper who claims that she actually witnessed the man commit the crime. But the reporter later finds holes in her story and eventually comes to believe that the police have the wrong man. So, Antonio Sabàto? That actually might be it, because I just noticed there's an accent on here where it wasn't on the other one. Whatever. Anyways, this movie, for all it's worth, feels like a made-for-TV Giallo that is ripping off Perversion Story. That is a oversimplification, but I can back that up. Now, I will say this. It's not a bad movie. It could use a restoration. It could use a little bit of an update to the video picture quality, the sound quality. But ultimately, I'll say this one it's just not really unique in terms of Giallo cinema. But I could totally see this playing on TV, especially in the 70s. Aside from a few things which would not go over well. For one, there was nudity when they went into a strip club. There is a moment with some slappy slaps, which in the 70s on television, that nobody would have batted an eye at that. But nowadays, let's not. And other than that, but yeah, it was very interesting because here's a Giallo that is in America, which we've seen Giallo films in America. We've seen them in New York City. We've seen them in San Francisco. Albuquerque. It was kind of like, why? Part of it reminded me of some spaghetti westerns, some Zapata westerns, because of the inclusion of Mexican-American characters and the Mexican-American community. This man gets arrested, and it kind of seems like they're pinning it on this man because he is a minority. Not fully, though. I mean, he was seen at the scene of the crime. He was walking up to the senator who got shot, but through the course of this court scene, this trial, which vaguely reminded me of Bloodstained Butterfly, not totally. If it went on longer, oh yeah, but it was like a handful of scenes maybe. But so the prosecution is like, of course it was him, put him away. The defense was that he was walking up to talk to him for, I forgot why, but some other man was hiding in the bushes across the street and shot the senator. And when our defendant heard the gunshot, he did the rational thing that any person would do, and they ran away in terror. And the witness, seeing him run away, attributed his fleeing with him committing the crime. And they urged the jury we need to not put this innocent man away. We need the police to go after the actual guilty party. Well, so our journalist Oh yes, I forgot to mention, our main character is a journalist. And not just is he a journalist, but he's an Italian. They do a little switcheroo, which I thought was interesting. Instead of it being an American abroad in Rome, it's an Italian in America, in Albuquerque. I will never get over that. It really is like, what made you choose this place? Like, New Mexico is not really, of all the 50 states, it's not at the bottom of the list in terms of where you would set, a drama. I mean, Breaking Bad takes place in New Mexico, but it just is a very odd choice, especially for a foreign Italian film. It's like, why didn't you pick like Southern California or Nevada or Arizona, Texas? I don't know. It's probably cheaper to film there. Probably what it was. Again, this is no disrespect to anybody who's, do you call them New Mexicans? Anybody who is a native to or resident of New Mexico. Is not to disrespect your state or anything. It's just odd that they chose Albuquerque. Moving on. So he is running the story, and he's finding that there's more to it. So he's investigating, and at one point he meets this person who they call Rasputin, who warns him that, oh, you're a Gemini or something, and before midnight on this night 2 more people will die, and then you will die right before midnight. So we get a little bit of this psychic prediction, which some of it does come true, I'll say. Oh, so let me tie back why I mentioned it. Kind of reminded me of the spaghetti westerns, the Sabàto westerns, is especially for Sabàto westerns, they take place in the not the American Southwest. They take place in Mexico, during the Mexican Revolution, or right before it, after it, but the tumultuous times. They're kind of like Poliziotteschi taking place during the years of lead. It's like, let's put that in Mexico, though. And again, why I bring this up is in terms of an Italian genre film, I haven't seen like a plethora of Mexican American characters in a Giallo before. I've seen them, like I said, in all these Italian westerns, but this was a first, and it was really cool. And it was very, very I try not to keep saying interesting, but it was very interesting for the time that they actually went this route of showing that, the police kind of just settled for him. They're like, open and shut case. We got the guy. And our main guy, Eddie, he looks into it. He ends up talking to this prostitute played by Barbara Bouchet, who verifies what was seen, and he looks into it, and is she telling the truth? Why would she be lying? So other things that stood out to me with this movie, we have this AZ cliche in Giallo films, which is D is for dwarf, and in the course of me going through these movies in chronological order, we haven't really had any dwarves yet. I actually don't think we've had any yet. Well, in terms of the movies I've covered, doing the deep dives for, we have a little person in this. And I will say this, but again, this is the quality of the movie I was watching. But when our main guy, Eddie, is talking to his friend, who is the little person, for the longest time, I'm literally sitting there like squinting, looking at the screen, like, I cannot tell if that is a little person or if that is a kid. And I know that might sound fucked up, and I don't mean it to be, but this person's dimensions, the way they were dressed, I was like, okay, wait, is that a kid?
I don't think there's a guy in this whole city that hasn't seen her naked. We were all part of the same gang at dear old St. Anthony's parochial school. But
when they did some like medium shots, the details on the face, I was like, no, that's an adult. I don't know why I thought I'd throw that out there. That was something that stood out to me. That was just something that for like a couple minutes, I was really trying to figure that out. I sound like an asshole. I'm trying to think what else to say about this movie. Oh, let me talk about why it reminds me of Perversion Story. Well, Perversion Story takes place in America, San Francisco. There is a death that happens early on. Okay, I will say this. Perversion Story is not really following a murder at first. It's doing the Le Diabolique thing where someone dies and then this other character is seeing someone who looks just like them and wondering whether they really are dead. Okay, so that doesn't happen in Lady Diabolique, but what does happen in Lady Diabolique is weird things start happening after the death of someone, and the person is grappling with their own sanity. So sorry if I compare Perversion Story to Lady Diabolique. They're not totally similar, but anytime a Giallo, especially from like the 60s, kind of does this whole thing with this person died, my wife died, or my father died, oh, is that my wife? They're kind of doing the thing, but it's not the same thing, but they're slightly copying the would you call it a trope? I don't know, where death is being brought into question, and this by association is affecting someone's sanity, someone's grip on reality. So that's what Perversion Story is doing. This is actually more of a straightforward investigation. And I was going to say it's kind of like the Fifth Chord, but the only similarity is that, well, actually there is a lot with Fifth Chord. The main guy is a journalist, and he's receiving, at a point, he knows there's going to be more death. And once he starts getting close, he starts receiving death threats from the killer. And oh my God, how many times they said man with icy eyes in this movie was ridiculous. That reminds me. So this really did feel like a made-for-TV movie. The script, the way it was written, like the things that certain characters would say, felt like a bad TV cop drama. And then the way those lines were delivered felt very television. And I don't know, the way it was shot, how it moved around, it just felt almost like a 70s kind of like Law and Order or Dragnet, or one of those old types of cop shows. Like I said, there was just some Giallo elements in there. Not a whole lot, though. We did get nudity. We did get some of those things, like I said, the psychic prediction, little person. You did see someone in black gloves very, very briefly. Beyond that, though, it really... This is one of those movies that if I didn't see it in lists as being a Giallo movie, I probably wouldn't consider it one. I'm not saying that it's not. It's just nothing really jumped out to me as, oh, this, of course it's a Giallo. Aside from the stuff that reminded me of Perversion Story, and to go back to that one more time just to close that out, they have a very, very similar ending. In both of them, there is someone who is behind bars who didn't commit this murder, and there is a race against the clock to save this person before they are gassed in a gas chamber in a state penitentiary. Yeah. So do they end the same? I don't know. That I will leave it at that, though. Like I said, I kind of don't really have a lot to say. I enjoyed it fine. If this was on TV, it kind of felt like if you're at like your grandparents' house and they've just got the TV kind of on, and this comes on, you're like, what are you watching? They're like, oh, I don't know, some show. And you decide to sit down and watch it with them. It feels like that. Like I said, it's a little bit more gritty. If you cut the boobs out, though, it'd be totally fine for 70s TV. Like I said, aside from a psh, psh, psh part, other than that, like I said, it was fairly tame. Yes, at this point now, I'm just going in circles. But yeah, I also found it on YouTube. I say also because I just cut a review before this. The Man with Icy Eyes, L'uomo dagli occhi. I'm not going to say that. Giallo Realm is the channel that posted it. So yes, check it out if you haven't, and I'll leave it at that. So thank you for watching. If you got this far, thank you so much. Have you seen The Man with Icy Eyes? What are your thoughts on it? If you haven't seen it, or you think you might check it out now, you can find it on YouTube. It's only an hour and a half. Have you never heard of this? I have talked about it in the Forgotten Giallo film series, but is this a new one for you? Any interest to see it? Nah? What do you think? Yeah. Leave any questions, thoughts, curiosities, or concerns in the comment section. I'll do my best to get back to you all. And like I said, did I actually tell you what I thought, whether I liked it or not? It was fine. It was fine. Nothing really special. I actually watched this the same day as I watched The Devil with Seven Faces. Funny enough, The Devil with Seven Faces I didn't really like. I didn't dislike it. I just didn't think anything was really special about it. But there was a scene at the end in the windmill that I was like, well, this is at least pretty cool. This is pretty unique. I like Luciano Pigozzi's performance here. Man with the Icy Eyes was just, it was fine, but there wasn't really anything that I thought was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I like that. It was really just mostly the setting was unique. Yeah, that's just my thoughts. But check it out if you want. It's available. Anyways, I will end this now. Thank you for watching. This is Tanner Leeser for the King and Giallo. And if nothing else, I'll see you next time.
Astrology is not a bug, Mr. Mills. It is a science. The same as occultism.
I heard about someone who had the same ideas in Germany. He had a mustache and saluted like this, right?